Hi everyone. So welcome to Web Development Intermediate Workshop. So I'm grateful for Bytes for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Julia, for this opportunity once again. So yeah, we're gonna start like about now. So my name is Oyin Dawodu. I hope everybody can hear me. So just to finish chat session, I guess I can hear you. So my name is Oyin Dawodu. I'm a software developer and also a technical writer. Yeah, you can get me on LinkedIn, Oyin Dawodu, also on Twitter at Oyin Dawodu. So before we start, I was hoping we would be more than this year. So I wanted to actually ask some questions. I wanted to know who my audience are. So who are my audience at this moment? So I would like to know, are you a beginner front-end web developer or you are intermediate? You are actually not even a developer, you're a back-end developer that just came out to do front-end development because you want to become full stack. So just put in the chat section, let me know who you are and who I would be talking to tonight. Okay, beginner front-end developer. Hi, Razia. Okay, anybody? Oh, C language. Do you know anything about HTML, CSS, or JavaScript? You will go full stack. Wow. Razia, that means you're a beginner. You go full stack. Yeah, thank God. In between beginner and intermediate of development, HTML and a bit of JavaScript. Okay, thank God. I was hoping there will be some backend developers here, so I can actually use these images. See, for everybody that is into front-end development, this first picture is for you. Yeah, you are the fighters, the warrior, that are actually into HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But any other person that is a backend web developer, this or that thing is for you, because how will you decide to learn backend first before coming to front end? So this second picture is dedicated to you. Most of the time, they say full stack web developers are usually built like this. They have more strength in one than the other. Thanks for the second picture. You're welcome. So yes, so HTML. Anybody starting from HTML, CSS, JavaScript? Kudos. We are in the same boat. So you got this, and you're actually in the right place. So yeah, our focus for this workshop is actually responsive and accessible websites. So we're talking on responsive and accessible websites. So I start with a quote. My writing, if you read my articles, you know I always start with a quote, and that does not mean I'm a motivational speaker anyway. So the first quote we are going with is, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So if you're wondering, oh, okay, is this a public speaking thing? But no, so let me just take the next slide. So a classic web design without HTML is just a wish. Yeah, I said what I said. Because I know if we should ask the question, is HTML a programming language? I'm sure the comment section is going to go all weird. Because a lot of developers have been asking, HTML is not a programming language. HTML is just a markup language, like the name says. Hypertext markup language is just a markup language. Yeah. But anyways, tell them that a classic web design without HTML is just a wish. And I'll tell you the reason, because no matter how good your idea might be, no matter how you want to create the next Google, the next flying website, the next beautiful website, you cannot leave HTML behind. Like there's no way you can do it without HTML. It's like the bedrock. So any classic web design without HTML is just a wish. So definitely, we cannot just say we just want to like, oh, HTML. Some people say I learned HTML in a day. It's good. So far, you actually learned it well. You learned HTML within few hours. It's good also. I just hope you learned it well. So just to hope you actually did the right thing is the reason why we are in this workshop today. So the next thing is, so I said a classic website without HTML is just a wish. So if HTML serves as a plan work for every great website, How then can you pull off a really good HTML plan? You need a good plan. Let me say for every, even if you want to build a house, you need a very good plan so you won't end up doing rubbish. So let's go on. So the first thing you have to do to build a very good plan, the first one is that you have to learn the semantics. And what is semantics? Would go. So HTML semantics are elements that clearly describe its meaning to both the browser, which is screen readers or search engine bots, and the developers. So semantic elements, they're actually useful to both the developer and the browser, because browsers cannot see, like you cannot just tell the browser that this is the nav bar, this is the main tag, this is the footer. You have to use some coding languages, and whether I like it or not, HTML is a coding language, is a programming language. So you have to tell it using HTML that this is actually the nav bar. And aside from that, telling the browser, you know, there's so many technologies that are risen up through this particular HTML semantics. It can now help people to create accessible websites whereby people can actually use screen readers. People that cannot see, they can use screen readers to actually read a website and understand its content. So you see, HTML is really a powerful tool to use. So types of semantic elements are form, table, article, nav, header, and so on. And the non-semantic elements are divs and the B tag and the high tag. So let's move on. In case you have any question, just drop it in the group chat. Okay, I mean in the chat, sorry. I would get it as soon as possible. So this is an example of a website. You know, when you open a very beautiful website, so many things involved in it. You see the header, you see the nav, different section, article, aside, and the footer. So this actually is the thing you are saying, but for a browser to understand, you have to use this particular tag by using the header tag, the nav tag, the section tag, the aside tag, the article tag, and so on. Okay, so let me move to in my slide. Okay, so the next one. Use semantic tags to bolden or italicize your text. So I know it has been a very great rush for most front-end developers, especially those people that usually say, hey, front-end development is something you can just master within maybe a week or 2 days. You will see them creating websites like this. They would want to like maybe just go on like, oh, there's the B tag. I can actually use the B tag to create the bold text. I can use the I tag to create an italic text. But ever since, this can actually work when the semantic tags has not been created. But ever since the semantic tags has been created, we have the strong and the EM tag. It has replaced this, and this has a semantic meaning. So if you've been using the B tag to create a bold text, I'm telling you today, it's very, very wrong. It's just that it will just show in your presentation that you're using a bold tag, but it will not tell the browser, neither will it tell any screen reader that this is actually a bold text or an italicized text. So moving on, you can see this is the B tag, this is a bold text, I strong AM. So this is the wrong way, and this is the right way of doing things. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I moved so fast. Well, let me just use my power laser point. So since I have it, let me use it. So the next one is don't move the button focus. You know, there are so many times that we want to create a very beautiful button, maybe customize it, and then you believe that, oh, this focus button is actually giving me some hell of a problem. And by focus, I mean if you enter any but if you create a button and you just press the tab or you click on it, you focus on it, there's this what's it called, like a border that is going to show on the button to show that this is focused on. And normally for a screen reader, when it's focused on that type of button, it's going to understand the things it's being focused on. So instead of you trying to create a custom button by now removing the outline from this focus button, do that. You can easily just create a box shadow to customize the button and just create it and customize it in other way. So please, the focus indicator is extremely important. For those who are unable to use a mouse, if the default focus indicator clashes with your design, you can just use CSS to recite it. Use the box shadow instead, as it is more flexible. So moving on, next one is use descriptive links. I know this is still happening in so many websites. When you go to so many websites, what I mean is that you see some website that'll be like, oh, this is just products, just features. Read more to learn about this thing. Learn more to, when you click, just to click on the button, they'll say, oh, learn more, click here, read more. It is, they might make it and design it with a very good CSS. It's looking very beautiful, but it is actually a very wrong practice. And you should actually create something that is explicit. It should be explicit with your link text. So a link text should be explicit and convey where it's redirecting the user to. Both the users and the search engine should be able to understand this content and how it relates to other pages. So don't just use the read more button, the learn more button, the click here button, because it's easy. You can easily do it, but please take the pain to actually do this. And you are creating a very good and accessible website. So moving on. Yay, wow. So we've come to the end of HTML, learning of HTML. So in case you are planning to, you want to create a good website plan, have this at the back of your mind. Semantic HTML is the real deal. So if you have mastered HTML in a day and you are still using these wrong things, please go back to the drawing board. You have to address this thing so that you can create a more flexible website. So moving on here, we are moving to CSS now. So I want to tell you some of the things you should note in CSS. So yeah, you know, I always start with the code. And this one is not actually my code. So yeah, it is. CSS is just like math. Practice and you will get better. So I don't know, I don't think there's anyone, or is there anybody who has mastered CSS in a day? How many days did it take you to master CSS? Tell me, I want to know if there are gurus in this house. Have you mastered CSS? Would you say you're an expert on CSS? If not, how long did it take? Please, chat box, please. How long did it take you to master CSS? Ooh, for 7 weeks. Someone said I've mastered it for 7 weeks and I've still not mastered it. Yes. It's just like mathematics. You have to keep doing it over and over again. And just not by doing it, by just maybe watching tutorials and doing, but actually work on projects, you know. Projects like solidify your skills, because no matter what you are going through in a tutorial, you know the developer is going to solve it at the end of the way, even if it's by posting his screen and then recording it later after he has solved it, he's going to solve it. But make sure you enter those troubles. Like, the number one problem I know every CSS developer will first of all enter is how to center a div. It's everywhere on Twitter. How can I center a div? How can I center a div? Get into those problems and get out of it. And that way you just get better and better and better and better. So let's move on. So what main concepts should one focus on in CSS? So CSS, you should focus on some things. I'm just giving you like a guide map, a roadmap to mastering CSS. Let's move on. Get familiar with the box model. So what is box model? Let's go. And I saw a really cool picture on, is it Twitter? On Twitter. If you've seen it, let me know. Like, it really explains the CSS box model. I know I went online and saw so many pictures. Everything is just about a box, a box, a box. But take a look at this picture. This is a girl. You can see this girl. This is her hand, and this is the clothes she's putting on, and then there's some space, like an abstract space around her. So you see, your body is the content. Just say this is like the content of the web page that are trying to maybe censor or try to put somewhere, and then the thickness of your coat is the padding. Just okay, it's in a cold weather or maybe everywhere is cold, and you're wearing a coat. So the thickness of your coat to your body is actually the padding you get. And then your silhouette or outline with your clothes on is the border. So if you look at this clothes, you will notice a line, an outline around the clothes. You can see the clothes outline. Yeah, right here. So that is like the border. and then your margin is the personal space between you and the next person. So imagine there's a next person. Oh yeah, there's a next person after you. So the space between you is like your margin. So if you think of the box model like this, and oh, this is me, my clothes, the space around me, you could actually get really familiar with the box model, because you cannot master CSS without the box model. CSS and box model are like this. If you say you don't understand box model, my brother, my sister, you don't understand CSS. So please try as much as possible to learn this particular box model to go a really long way. Yeah, the picture, yeah, it really helped me too. Censoring this. Yes, censoring this is like the number one problem a front-end web developer is going to enter. So let's move on. Know your shorthand properties. You know, when you move on into the workspace, you're going to like maybe be working with a really large code base. And now imagine, because you don't know shorthand properties, you are now like overpopulating your code. It's like they're going to like first of all tell you and introduce you to the dry model, like tell you to make your code dry. That is for you to actually limit unnecessary things. And by limiting unnecessary things is by knowing these shorthand properties. So what are shorthand properties? So you know the padding, you remember the box model? The padding. Assuming you want to give a padding top, that is the padding, the coat, your coat, you want to give, maybe you wear a hood, and then you want to maybe like, okay, what is the distance between your head and the hood? It should be like 5 pixels. What about your right arm, or maybe your leg? Anyhow that is supposed to mean. You cannot just decide to write all of these, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Decide to write like 4 lines of code when you can actually save the space by writing one. So please, shorthand property is a real deal. It also applies in border. Imagine you want to write border color black, border with 1 pixel, border size, just to maybe like show off that you actually know these things. But please, it's not needed. You can just go on with the shorthand property. So master your box model, know the shorthand principle. So yeah, the layout is like, that's those 3 things. Honestly, I think this is where I ended it. Oh no, there's still one more thing. Know how to position, CSS positioning and display properties. So what is CSS positioning? Yeah, I'm sure everybody's familiar with this position properties. Usually it was really confusing at first, like, how can I position this thing? Is it not doing the same thing? Imagine you're trying to position a particular image, or maybe a particular div. You use static, you're still doing the same thing. Use relative, use absolute, use fixed, use secant. What is this thing? You know, people that would like just want to maybe use like there's no need for me to master this thing. I will just go through it and learn it. Okie dokie. So you really need to know these things and how to use them, when to use them. It will really go a long way. Oh, that's so nice. Someone said I've never seen that image, and it felt like a light bulb just went on inside my head. Yes. Like, I'm really grateful for the person that actually put that content out. It was like that for me. So that's why I just had to save the image, like, oh, this could actually come in handy. So CSS positioning, this has to do with when you use the top property, the left, the right properties. So knowing this particular position property, I know it can be really hard at some point, but you really need to master it so as to avoid or just be able to create some custom CSS styles. So let's move on. Okay, so aside from the positioning, you also need to know the display properties. These display properties will help your life. Trust me, will help your life. Flexbox and grid, those are like lifesaver. In any website that might look very complicated, you know, as a front-end web developer, when you start going through some websites, you no longer see the fine image, you no longer see the beautiful colors. You start looking at the website and start saying, oh, display flex, text align center. Oh, this is padding left, padding top. This is like, you know. So if you ever go to a website and start saying how all of this is, then They are going to know what it is. So these display properties, you cannot go, like, if you know you don't understand this particular thing, you can tell Julia, we can just create a whole workshop on display properties or maybe position properties, so as to just trash it out. Because if you want to be a good front-end web developer, you want to master HTML and CSS very well. You see this block, inline block, flex grid, you need to know how to use them, when to use them. So trust me. So this is the flex box. You know, flex box actually works. Maybe you want to create a particular content as columns, or you want to create them as rows, just to align them. It's just aligning, putting things together beside each other or underneath each other. And then you see grid. Grid is like a magic box. Like, I've been using Flexbox to like bypass my way instead of using grid, because when I first of all encountered this grid, it was looking like, oh, this is looking so hard. I don't want to learn it. But it's like, this Flexbox can actually do what grid is doing. My dear, I'm telling you, it is not the same thing. Like, you cannot compare Flexbox and grid model. Grid model is going to make like your life easier. Then Flexbox definitely is going to help you, but with grid model, there are some things you can easily do with display, but you'll be like, oh, let me just use this grid, because you can actually specify that I want this particular thing to just be in this place and don't exceed that place. But you see with Flexbox, as the website is being responsive, maybe shrinking or expanding, is going to grow bigger or grow smaller. But you see with grid, whatever you put in this box will remain in that box. It will not exceed, it will not go under, it will just remain in that box. So display properties, positioning, they are very important, and you really need to understand them if you want to master CSS. Trust me, I'm going to drop some resources that is going to help you with this, and HTML and CSS as a whole. So let's move on. So yeah, the next thing about CSS is create responsive website with media query. So if you want to create media website, then you'll have responsive websites. You would have come across media query at some point in time, because there's no way you can do without media query if you want to create responsive website. So let me give you examples of media queries. So this is a media query at media minimum width of 768 pixels. Yeah, if you want to create mobile first styles, you want to create desktop styles. So this is it. Oh wow, the missing is interesting. So this is a laptop where the desktop styles will go in here and the mobile styles will go in here. So media query is absolutely important. So yeah, this is for the mobile. In case you have a very specific style you want to use for your mobile, you can simply use this code at media query maximum width of 400, or maybe it's 300. I'm sure everybody know how to use this inspect in your browser. You should be able to inspect the browser and know the actual thing you want for your website. So yeah, Julia told me we should do a little bit of JavaScript. I'm like, whoa, we should do a little bit of JavaScript in an hour. I don't know how that is possible, but I came up with one thing. You know, I won't want to disappoint everybody. So coming up with JavaScript, this is it. All I have for you. And you know, this is like, just imagine, you know, if you've watched horror movies or maybe alien movies, just say this in your head. This is just the beginning. I don't know if I got the voice, but JavaScript is just the beginning. But trust me, if you can master those HTML and CSS roadmap with JavaScript, you survive. Trust me, you would survive. Oh yeah, it's actually very different. It's very different. Someone says, since I started learning JavaScript, it's so different from HTML and CSS. JavaScript is so scary. Yes, JavaScript is, I won't say scary, so I would not scare you. So it's nice, but you can get some points where you start dreaming about JavaScript. You know, that happened to me when I would be creating something. I'm wondering what is going wrong. I'll be sleeping, but I'm not actually sleeping. I'm thinking of how else can I solve this thing, and then I'll just stand up all of a sudden again and do it. Like, it gets to some points, you just like banging the table, like, oh God, can this thing just work already? So yeah, you should be excited on that. JavaScript is going to like challenge you, is going to expand you, is going to stretch you. to so many extent. So if you want to be a developer, so trust me, JavaScript is just the beginning. And with JavaScript, HTML and CSS, you have the internet in your hands. Those tools are enough for you to build any great thing you want to. JavaScript has a lot of framework. Like currently, I'm a React developer working with JavaScript. As you keep going deeper and deeper in JavaScript, you just be grateful that, oh, finally I'm actually learning JavaScript. Yeah, it's the door to other languages. Yes, it is actually. Your brain on JavaScript or the background. Yay! Someone says I feel motivated. Yes. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we've come to the end of the workshop. Thank you. In case you have any questions, you can hit me right up right now. And you can also find me on LinkedIn and Twitter. Thank you very much. Yeah, I hope you've learned one or two on HTML and Java and CSS. So as we're going on, I'm going to be sharing different useful resources for my fellow self-taught web developers. You know, I told you I'm a self-taught web developer, so these are the things that actually helped me. Yeah, so free code camp, design is, in case you want to like get a design inspiration before you start building a project, you can get it. Yes, so many, I have a lot for you guys. Yeah, see, in case you want to take screenshots because I came prepared. So these are icons, color palette, fonts. These are illustrations. You want to code, hosting. There are lots of resources, guys, because obviously I'm a self-taught, and self-taught means I've got a lot of resources. So if you want to screenshot them, you can screenshot them. If you want to get my slides later, you can. So just take your time. And thank you very much. Credit. Yeah, I would not take people resources without crediting them. So thank you very much for everybody that came.